First up, that stunning college admissions scam. Again, we are monitoring the court action. It's happening right now. But I want to bring in right now Wall Street Journal editorial member Mary Anastasia O'Grady and former federal prosecutor Vinoo Varghese. Great to have you both on.
People and everyone else, you've got to, I say hold off for a second. Let's just wait till everything comes out. Because right now the headlines, it's headline grabbing. But until you delve into it and know exactly what was promised, remember, these people are presumed innocent.
Wait a minute, they're deducting them on their tax returns, right? And there's audio recordings involved here too.
Yeah, this is the initial stages. These people haven't been arraigned yet. I want to hold off.
The actress Lori Loughlin and her husband are among the parents facing new charges for allegedly resorting to bribery and fraud to get their children into top colleges.
Criminal defense attorney Vinoo Varghese, who is not representing a defendant in this case, says if he was Loughlin's attorney, he would have advised her to not take a deal.
All the payments were done by her husband, and it makes that very clear that her husband wired the money over to Singer. That, to me, does not lead to her being guilty in a criminal conspiracy to commit what they call honest services fraud or money laundering conspiracy. For the government to push to plea this quickly, it's really not a fair position for them to take, because basically you're not giving them an opportunity to really challenge the evidence, to review it.
Those planning on fighting the charges include actress Lori Loughlin and her husband Massimo Giannulli, who are now working on their defense.
It's her constitutional right to challenge this prosecution. If I'm the representative or the attorney for one of these parents, I, again, want to check what they have against my sole client, and then I want to hear what this person has to say. And look, two people can hear the same thing and come to a different conclusion.
With Lori Loughlin and her husband, Massimo Giannulli, who could face at least 18 months in prison, because I know the crime could provide them with 40 years.
Here's the problem with the government's case against Lori Loughlin. If you actually read the indictment, the most Lori Loughlin is said to have done is be CC'd on emails between her husband and Singer, the guy who orchestrated all of this. She's a CC, and at the end there's a phone call, which the government recorded, where he starts saying something about, oh, it's done, and she goes, uh-huh.
So
that's
you're
the extent
saying that
of the government
she is
case.
Not going to go to jail, but her husband will?
I'm not saying her husband necessarily going to go to jail. What I'm saying is they actually need separate lawyers. They're being represented by the same person. She should get her own lawyer because he faces more real time than she does. This is really a civil issue.
Yes.
It's really these parents basically defrauding the college and the federal government stepping in and trying to criminalize what's really a fraud issue between them and the college. This college should be suing them, but now the U.S. government, using your taxpayer dollar in mind, is now making this a big case, and now they got a big black eye yesterday because they got hardly any jail for one of their two signature defendants.
Get some reaction. Vinoo Varghese, a criminal defense attorney and former prosecutor, joins us. So you just heard Molly there, Semper Vivo, getting 4 months. He paid $400,000 to get his kid into Georgetown. So what does this mean for Lori Loughlin, who paid $500,000?
Well, Lori Loughlin's case is very different than Semper Vivo's. All the government has, or at least put forth so far in the indictment against Lori Loughlin, is that she was CC'd on a couple of emails from Singer to her husband, and then there's one recorded call where Singer calls her and says, I took care of it, and she says, uh-huh.
But these are very serious charges, though. We're talking about money laundering, conspiracy to commit fraud. We had Felicity Huffman with 14 days in prison for only mail fraud. So I think these charges are much more severe, don't you think?
Look, the charges are the charges, and the government is known to pile on. Look, Felicity Huffman got 14 months. This was after the U.S. government, the U.S. Attorney's Office in Boston, had touted this as a big scandal. They would call it Operation Varsity Blues, but after Huffman's sentencing, they were the ones feeling the blues. These guys are overhyping this case. This is really a civil matter between these parents and the universities.
The
U.S. government should not have been involved.
Are you saying then that Lori Loughlin is not going to get any jail time?
I think Lori Loughlin is going to take this all the way and beat this case at trial. And even if she's convicted, this is the important thing that people don't understand. This is based on a very flimsy legal theory. It's called honest services fraud. fraud.
Well,
it's one of the most vague legal theories out there. So they have the power to fight this and go forward. And maybe even if they initially lose, which I don't think they will, because I don't think they have a strong case against her, she's going to potentially beat this on appeal.
35 parents have been charged. 2 parents have been sentenced to prison already. 15 parents pleading guilty. 19 parents are fighting the charges. And you're telling me that Lori Loughlin is going to beat these charges? I mean, the odds are against her, aren't you?
No. Based on what the government has alleged in their indictment, all they said is that she said, I don't think is enough to convict anybody. I mean,
saying that
been in that courthouse. Based on the facts the government's put forth. Now, if they have more stuff, that's different. But based on what they've put forth so far, they don't have a case against her.
Prosecutors in the college admissions scandal this week releasing hundreds of documents challenging defense claims of actress Lori Loughlin and her husband Massimo Giannulli. They're accused of paying $500,000 to get their 2 daughters into USC. The couple says they thought they were making legitimate contributions to the school, but prosecutors say the documents prove otherwise. Let's bring in our legal panel. Misty Maris is a trial attorney. Vinoo Varghese is a criminal defense attorney and former prosecutor. Good to have you both with us this Saturday. So Vinoo, although there are emails on record that suggest otherwise, isn't Lori changing her defense from not knowing that she was being swept in this illegal current, but she's saying to now, don't hate the player, hate the game. We're not the only parents who make sizable contributions to get access to major and prestigious universities. Will this about-face work in her favor?
Everyone should understand is that this is really a civil matter. And what the government has done is criminalize a civil fraud between parents in these universities, and they're acting as the proxy. So this is a colossal waste of taxpayer dollar. The amount of money that the government is spending for a $500,000 on Lori Loughlin is insane, the amount of taxpayer dollar being spent. What they've done is criminalize the behavior that's just a fraud. Now, with Lori, there's an issue with her, is that she's using the same lawyers as her husband. The government has now produced 4 indictments. They have just filed their 4th superseding indictment a couple days ago. In it, nothing has changed as far as Lori's involvement. All they have is being CC'd on emails.
So you're saying that Massimo's is the one Massimo, the husband, is the one who's in big trouble more than Lori.
Well, he's the one who's actually wiring things. He's the one having the conversations with people. She's at most CC'd. The most they have a recorded call.
So you're telling me Lori Loughlin's going to get off the hook clean?
I think she should, but the first thing she's got to do is hire a separate lawyer. The government actually did something correct here and tried to bring up a conflict. She waived that conflict. That's her mistake. So if she goes down, it'll be because of that.